Okay, you're live.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees, excuse me, for the Village of Sleepy Hollow, in accordance with an executive order issued by Governor Cuomo earlier this year. We are conducting this meeting of the board via teleconference, which we are allowed to do under that executive order, and as we have done in previous meetings, and will continue to do for the foreseeable future. We are going to run our meetings as we always have with our normal agendas, and we always start our board meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I would ask that you stand with me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we also, at our regular meetings, remember those members of our community who have passed since our last meeting. We lost several of our members of our community, residents from Kendall on Hudson, since our last meeting, 4 to be exact. So Kathleen Ann, I believe it's Levac, at the age of 90 passed. Gordon Boudreau at the age of 91. Regina Ceriliello at the age of 82. And Nicolita Rodescu at the age of 98, all passed, and all residents at Kendall. We also lost Maria Adelina Pastilla of Gordon Avenue at the age of 89. As always, our thoughts are with their families and those who knew them, and other members of, especially Kendall, members of their community. And I would ask that we pause for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. We are going to begin our meeting tonight with a public meeting, not a public hearing, but we're in the process of updating our hazard mitigation plan, which is something that we did about 5 years ago. And one of the things that we need to do as part of that update is have a public meeting, which we had announced earlier, and we're doing this evening. And I would invite any member of the public who would like to weigh in on any of the matters that are contained in the hazard mitigation plan. This is your opportunity to do so now. Also, any members of the board that would care to address this, you're welcome to do so now as well. Mr. Giaccio, you want to lay out the parameters, please?
Yeah. Our consultant is actually on the Zoom meeting, and I think she's going to give a little overview of the whole process and where we're at. After she talks, you could open it up again to public comments, but I don't see any. But I'd like to her take over.
Feldman, I presume, please welcome. I could say welcome to Sleepy Hollow, but I don't know where you are.
Thanks.
So.
Hi, I'm Ellen Feldman from Cash and Associates. So we prepared the original plan in 2014, and we also prepared the update. So basically, in preparing the update, we reviewed what we did was we reviewed the mitigation actions that were laid out in the 2014 plan that was presented in the table. We looked at everything that you thought you might do or wanted to do. We looked at what was completed, what was ongoing, what wasn't done. We reviewed maybe why it wasn't done, or if it was feasible or not feasible. We documented and evaluated the ongoing programs, what still needed to be done, and we documented any changes in risks or vulnerabilities, particularly areas of new development in the village that may present some new risks and things that needed to be looked at for the village in terms of emergency response. And we also, where there's the lists of the emergency plans that the village has, we looked at those and updated those where that needed to be. And then the next step is for the village to adopt the plan, which I believe you're hoping to do next week. And then the State Office of Emergency Management and FEMA will review the plan, and then presumably that will be approved. And that's sort of the process for the plan update. It's certainly not as involved as preparing the original plan because a lot of the information is already there, but it does need to be reviewed, looked at, updated where it's needed to see where you're at and what needs to be done. So that's what we've been doing for the last month. And that is the draft plan that was, I guess, posted on the website for you and for the public to review. And we'll take any comments, which will be incorporated into this plan.
Thank you. That was succinct. Anyone from the board care to weigh in? And Mr. Giacchio, do we have anybody in the public who has raised their hand that they would like to speak on this?
No, we don't. One thing I would add is we did have a committee meeting of the department heads and everybody involved. We also
Right,
had a stakeholders meeting of a lot of the community leaders, including Phelps and the Chamber of Commerce and the school and all our emergency services. So we have done a lot of work in that area too, to get input.
Right. Yeah, they all had input and they gave us information where they thought areas that may need improvement and areas that had been improved and work that had been done over the last 5 years. So they also provided a lot of information to us to put into the report. And they told us where they had plans that were updated, particularly in the schools. Obviously, the last 5 years, a lot of things have changed in terms of appropriate emergency response for the schools. So that's something that we updated in the report as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm not hearing any additional comments. So what I think we'll do is we'll move on with our agenda. If somebody does join us later, we do have 2 opportunities for people to speak during our meetings, and they can certainly weigh in at that point. For anybody who's watching and doesn't care to reach out right now, I would just say, send us an email to any one of the trustees or to Mr. Giacchio, or send a letter to Ms. McCarthy Tompkins, the village clerk at 28 Beekman Avenue. And we will review your thoughts. And thank you for that. Ms. Feldman, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay, you're welcome. Do you need me anymore? Or are you?
Yes, don't go anywhere.
Okay, sure.
Council is weighing in, and
do you, if you're going to accept this next week, do you want to close the public hearing tonight?
it's not a public hearing.
Okay,
It's just an announced public meeting. So there was no requirement for public hearing, but for a public meeting.
okay,
And we thought it would be most appropriate to do that at the start of a board meeting, much like the way we do our public hearings.
gotcha.
So it looks, feels, and sounds like, but it isn't.
So do you want to have a date, maybe in the next few days, if people submit comments to, I know you want to accept this within a week or so, but even, we could take
Friday.
comments.
Yes, anybody who wants to submit written comments, please do so by Friday this week,
Okay.
which, if my math is correct, is the 11th.
I believe that's true.
Yes, correct.
Close the business. By
Smith?
the,
Yeah.
Yeah, close the
Close
business
the business.
Friday, December 11th.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Feldman. We look forward to completing this.
You're welcome. So do we. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay. So are we good?
You can stay for what I'm sure is going to be a fascinating meeting, or you can leave.
It was good to see you all.
Most sane people would leave. Okay, so
Thank you. It was nice. It was good to see you. And if there's any more comments, you can send them to me. It was
okay,
good to see you. Thank you very
Will do.
much. Good night.
okay.
Thank you.
Well,
Bye. Good night.
bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, next order of business is a warrant that was distributed. We have a warrant to approve. It was distributed earlier to the board. Our treasurer, Sarah DiGiacomo, is with us. If you have any questions about the warrant, please direct them to her. Ms. DiGiacomo, would you just state the amount of the warrant? I know it's fairly small, but for the record, the amount is
Sure, $208,093.05.
anyone on the board have any questions regarding the warrant or comments?
Motion to approve the warrant.
Seconded.
Gebler and Scaglione, I think. And so so moved for adoption or acceptance. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? And we'll have that, I believe, 6-0. I thought I heard Sam there. 7-0, 6-0. I thought I heard Sam there. Excuse me.
Thank
The
you.
minutes of 12/1. We have December 1st minutes that were also distributed. Any changes, amendments there?
Move adoption of the minutes from December 1st, 2020.
Seconded.
All right, moved and adopted. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions or no votes? None. Okay. The minutes are approved. I have a couple of announcements. I wanted to, I guess it's more of a shout out to Jay Sampaio and his folks. People Helping People, part of the New York group of People Helping People, cooked and delivered over 1,300 meals this Saturday after Thanksgiving, and distributed to all of that to residents of Sleepy Hollow, Terrytown, and Ossining. So that's a pretty amazing amount of work there, and I know deeply appreciated. So thanks, guys. Jay and everybody who are working with you. I know it's really appreciated, and love to see people do things like that to step up. A couple of other things. The PBA is continuing its annual toy drive. If you have a gift for a child that you would like to drop off, you can do it at Village Hall in the lobby. Please send them unwrapped, so we'll know if age that it's appropriate for, and so on. They're also doing a feature, something that they call Adopting a Family. If you'd like to, for the holidays, if you'd like to find out more about that, check it out on the Village website, or send an email to sleepyhollowpba@gmail.com. So all one word, sleepyhollowpba@gmail.com. And I would also like to note that, hang on a second with me, folks. Still don't have the total inbox, the thing down here. Just a final note on the gift giveaway will be done on December 21st from 2 to 4 p.m. so December 21st in the afternoon at the firehouse at 28 Beekman Avenue. Please get your stuff in. It will make some folks really happy, and we know we'd like to see that happen. Those are my announcements for the evening. If anything else, we'll bring it up later on, and that we've got some new business, old business things to discuss as well. I'm going to move on to the administrator's report. Mr. Giacchio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to put my little report on the screen here, hopefully. Okay. I haven't given a report in a while, so I got a lot of things here. Hopefully I'll go quickly. Village projects. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, but we can't see your report.
Uh-oh. All right. Now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Okay, village projects. The first one is the Clinton Street Streetscape project. It's in the design stage. Village board just recently approved a survey for that project. Route 9 Culvert project is also in design stage. Han Engineering is working on that. Both the Pecanico River project and Statue Island is also in the design stage. We expect some, we already seen some work from Margie Ruddick on both those projects, and those are moving along. Real estate feasibility study is nearly completed. The consultant had contacted us and wants to make a presentation in early January to the village board. Cortlandt Street Sewer project, that project will start in January. Beekman Avenue sidewalks, a bid has been awarded, and that will start in the spring. Hudson Plaza is under construction. We're hoping to complete that by the end of the year. The Continental Street Sewer project, the sewer itself is completed, but we need to do restoration of the area that we disturbed. And finally, the Sleepy Hollow Common project is ongoing, as the board is aware of. Board recently approved, or the LDC approved, moving forward with some funding. I think the village board was okay with, to be continued on that. Some issues that the village board has addressed recently. Scenic Hudson Trails Committee, both Lynn Moffitt and David Averin have offered to volunteer. We still need one more member for that committee. That is a joint committee with Tarrytown and Scenic Hudson to look at ways to have better movement amongst the two villages and beyond, and trails and other ideas that come out of the committee. They meet once a month. So if anybody's interested, they should contact me or the mayor. LoSAP, Sarah and I met with the consultant or talked with them, and we have all the paperwork that we're working on. Believe it or not, some of the volunteers will start receiving benefits in January. Capital budget, as you know, was approved, and the projects are moving forward. All the department heads are eager to spend money on their capital projects. Zoning amendments, we know that that's moving forward with BFJ Planning. They have been contacted and notified that they were awarded the contract, and the next phase is to get the steering committee together and start the process of looking into the zoning in the downtown. I'm happy to report that the Gold Star Mothers statue fundraising efforts they've received enough money to complete the statue, but they're still accepting more funds for maintenance in the future. What a great effort by the community. That's a Chickalella endeavor. It's been a very special work that Village Board approved several months ago, and we're excited to put that project starting in the spring. But again, the fundraising has been very successful. As you saw, the hazard mitigation plan is nearly complete. That was incredible effort by Cash and Associates to get that done in the time frame that we had for them just a little more than a month to complete it. And again, the police reform committee needs to be formed. I know that Chief Buetti, who probably comment on it, has worked hard to meet with community leaders, Tarrytown, the school district, the St. Teresa's Church. But we also need to create the committee, and they need to review our policies and make recommendations in time for the deadline, which is in April. COVID-19, many of you know that we're now in a yellow zone. Our goal is to prevent us from going into an orange zone, which has much more greater restrictions and impact on our businesses. What we're doing to combat that is the county has distributed to us many face masks and sanitizers that we're distributing throughout the community. There's going to be, there's testing at the medical center by appointment, but also we're going to have a mobile testing site at Sykes Park. All of this is by appointment. We will post this on the village website if you want to make an appointment. The mobile test site will be at Sykes Park on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the other thing we're doing is we are educating the public. I know that our community liaison, Deanna Loha, is going business to business to make sure they wear masks, to make sure they require their customers to wear masks, to inform the residents how important it is to social distance and wear masks. But we're ready. The staffs and the volunteers are ready for the next wave as we were in March. Again, with a little better prepared with equipment and the things we need to combat the pandemic. Events that are coming up, there's a few more on that I have that are not listed here. We have the drive-in movie this Saturday that the Recreation Department is running. The movie's Elf. I think there's still opportunity for people to sign up for that. Also on Saturday is the Rivertown Runners social distance run that they're going to do in the two manors, starting at Kingston Point Park. That starts at 9 a.m. Shortly after that is the Deanna Loha is working on a food enclosed drive that will also be at Kingston Point Park. It'll be after the race. That information has also gone out to the community. We will have the virtual tree lighting ceremony next week that I think Matt Arone mentioned at his last report. And finally, we're going to be doing fireworks on January 1st. Some of you may already know this, but we are working on a celebration to not only bring out 2020, but to celebrate Chickalella's 100th birthday. And we have some activities planned, and we figured why not do fireworks on the same day as his birthday. He will be 100 years old. Okay, personnel issues. We continue to do training. It's important, as you all know, to keep training up and to make sure that we are as equipped as possible to deal with personnel issues. We just recently completed our workplace violence and harassment training. We did PESH HAZWOPER training, which is dealing with hazardous material. That's for the DPW. I am working with our Labor Council to arrange for management training courses for our department heads. I had this last time on my report, but I figured I'd remind the board that our union contracts, when they're coming due, the first one is the PBA. In fact, we should probably start talking about that one soon. It expires on May 31st of 2021. Also, reminder that we have a tourism app that Historic Hudson River Towns has put together. It's a mobile map and you can use it driving, so it's very socially distant friendly. We're working on a newsletter that will probably go out again in January. And I've met with the Washington Irving chairman of our bicentennial, and we're going to start thinking about what we can do in 2021 to do all the events we were planning for 2020. Obviously, we have to wait a little bit, but we're going to start working on making arrangements for that. I'm not going to go through all the grants. I showed this at my last report, but I did want to give the residents and the board an update on how much grant money we have been successful in getting. Here, it's almost $7 million of grant money of projects that were underway. Most of the grant projects, grants out there of this past year have been on pause. And so we haven't seen a lot of activity, but we have so many projects that we're working on that are grant related that doesn't matter too much for us right now. But once they start again, we'll be first in line to apply for them. And a few other notes. DOT, as everybody's happy that they finally have installed a pedestrian traffic signal at Pearson and Route 9 near the Dutch Church. Con Edison is continuing its paving work in Weber Park. They've done a significant amount of road work. I think they still have more to do. We are undergoing an EPA stormwater audit. And last thing is ACOM is working on the Duracell cleanup project. You may recall, came to a board meeting a few weeks ago, and they're doing some underground testing of that site. So there's a lot going on. If anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Giaccio. Members of the board, any questions?
Anthony, if you haven't done so already, can you please email us a copy of that report?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, then we'll move on to Chief Boetti from Sleepy Hollow Police Department. Chief?
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's healthy and well. I had mentioned in my last report that we've met with several different groups in our community, and that led me to contact the Westchester County Office for Women and Director Robin Schlaff. And we're currently working together to put together, actually we're working on several different issues. One of them is putting together an informational Zoom / recorded training for our residents. We're working on connecting a victim with a victim advocate as soon as possible, training our officers in the domestic violence high risk team. And as I said, that informational training would cover what is domestic violence, types of domestic violence, explain that domestic violence has no social economic boundaries. It happens straight across the board. We'd also explain victims' rights. You obtain certain rights when you are a victim, victims' compensation, and resources available to you if you are a victim. We'd also like to cover the topics of T visas, what they are, and U visas. And we'd also have another category for issues and additional resources for our undocumented immigrants. I know Administrator Giaccio had mentioned that the COVID testing was going to be here on Thursday. Just to give you an idea of where we're at, 2 weeks ago, on that Tuesday, we had a meeting. That's when we first went into the yellow zone. We had approximately 92 active cases. As of today, I believe we're somewhere around 83. So we were able to hold serve, so to say, as far as new cases. The governor's office has issued the New York State COVID vaccination program book. It covers quite a number of topics, but one that I thought was interesting was the vaccination prioritization matrix. There's 6 different priorities. Priority number 1 would cover the group of high risk population and essential healthcare workers. Priority 2 would cover the same group, with differentiates between 1 and 2 is 1 would be in a high COVID prevalence geographical area, and priority 2 group would be in a low COVID area. The second group would be lower risk population and other essential workers, which would cover our village staff, grocers, and people of that nature. And then the final 2 priorities is 5 and 6. That covers your general population.
There's
As
a
the administrator said,
7 that covers elected officials. So
they may have left that out. We've been, as the administrator said, we've been in touch with the county government. They have given us a load of hand sanitizers and masks. We will be distributing those to local businesses and houses of worship starting tomorrow. We continue to meet with the high school, informing our regional youth council. We have a meeting set for later this week and again on the 17th. As you mentioned, the PD and the PBA are doing the toy drive. If you wish to donate any toys, please drop them off either at the police station or Village Hall. We have several vehicles coming in due to past capital projects. We just completed a purchase order for our portable radios, which should complete the upgrade of our radio system that took over the course of 5 years. We had the opportunity to do an additional traffic survey on New Broadway. Just wanted to go over some of the results real quickly. So we set up the radar unit at the general area of New Broadway and Maple. Vehicle traffic going northbound had an average of 19 miles an hour. Going southbound, an average of 26.7 miles an hour. However, there was just under 1% of the vehicles traveling southbound were at 30 miles an hour. So we're doing another traffic study as we speak, closer to the traffic light on Route 9. So we're eager to see those results. And as for the results of the second survey we did at Lower Beekman, we did see an increase of speed with the removal of that traffic cone of about 4 miles per hour. It's still under the 25 mile per hour speed limit, but I think it definitely shows that if there is a traffic calming measure there, it definitely slows the speed down. And unless there's any questions.
Right, members, thank you, Chief. Members of the board, any questions on the chief and his report or any other aspect of the police department?
Hi, Chief. This is Sam. I just have a question on the police reform. If you could do any outreach to any of the local associations, many of the Man associations, Weber Park, I know has an informal group that meets on a regular basis. But if you need any help with that, please let me know. It might be a good idea to maybe attend one of their meetings, because I know some of the groups have regular meetings, just to get interest of any of the local neighborhoods who may want to participate in the process.
We're gonna have a Zoom meeting next Monday with my police advisory committee, public advisory committee rather. I know there are several members that are on different organizations throughout the village. So I am putting that out there that way.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Sam. Any other questions for the chief or comments? Thank you, Chief. Okay, we'll move on to public comments. Mr. Giacchio, has anybody indicated that they would like to address the board?
Yes, Ann White would like to speak.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, members of the board and Chief Buetti. My questions and comments relate to the process of the police review that is underway. I'm a little, and I know you don't normally answer questions at this point, but I have sent emails in the past asking questions and have not gotten answers. So I'm a little puzzled as to how to proceed. Originally, I understood that the police department was going to collect data, and then there would be a report on the data that would be available for people to look at. I have read through the governor's orders and the various things that need to be done, but until we have a report on the current status of policing in Sleepy Hollow, it's hard to know where to go. I'm also concerned that Administrator Giacchio mentioned that a police reform committee needed to be created. And then Chief Bueti mentioned that his Zoom Police Advisory Committee was going to be meeting. And I'm confused about what the difference is between those two things. In terms of re-envisioning policing, one of the things I'm most interested in is an evaluation of traffic stops and the percentage of people who are people of color as compared to Caucasians. The other thing that you know that I'm interested in is some kinds of diversion programs for the village. And I testified at a Westchester open forum supporting interest in that. And I understand that the new district attorney is very much interested, and one of her transition panels is looking at different diversion programs. So I'm very interested in getting involved with it and would like to know more about how to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Thank you for your interest in this, and I will be back to you personally on how we can engage more on this. Mr. Giacchio, does anybody else wish to address the board? Seeking to.
No other comments.
All right, well, we've got another opportunity later on in the evening. In the meantime, we will move on. We've got 5 resolutions to consider. Would somebody please take the first one?
Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow to suspend meter parking. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees does hereby suspend requirements for the meter parking payments for the holiday season starting December 11th, 2020 and ending January 4th, 2021. Be it further resolved, the Chief of Police is directed to place seasonal bags on the meters during this time. So moved.
Seconded.
Second, I believe the second was Trustee Gebler. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Didn't see them. The resolution's approved. Somebody take the next one.
Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow setting meeting dates. Be it resolved, the mayor and the Board of Trustees change the meeting dates in December as follows. December 8th, board meeting. December 15th, work session and board meeting starting at 7 p.m. There will be no meeting on December 22nd and December 29th due to the holiday schedules. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? And the resolution's approved. Next up on Climate Smart Task Force.
Let's see. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Mr. Smith?
No, I think you can read only the resolved paragraphs.
Oh, no, okay. Resolution of the Sleepy Hollow Village Board reestablishing a climate smart task force and appointing a new climate smart coordinator. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow reestablishes a climate smart task force to comprise the following 9 members in accordance with the requirements for a composition for such task force set forth on the DEC CSC website. David Avrin, co-chair of SHIAC, which is the Sleepy Hollow Environmental Advisory Committee. Daniel Convatsor, member SHIAC. Beverly Jansen, member SHIAC. Nana Welch, member Shiak, Sarah Smiley, resident, Karen Vastola, resident, Shar Weigel, resident, Sasha Spector, resident, Anthony Giacchio, village administrator, village staff liaison. Be it further resolved that the CSC task force shall meet minimally twice a year, but may meet more often as needed. Be it further resolved that Ms. Sarah Smiley is appointed as the Climate Smart Coordinator for the Village of Sleepy Hollow, retroactive to September 2020, to direct the work of the task force and to serve as the liaison between the task force and village staff for the purposes of collecting information and documentation required for advancing the village's CSC status. So moved.
Seconded.
And seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Resolution is approved.
And I see that Sarah is at our meeting, so thank you, Sarah.
Hi, this is Sarah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No.
So I have permission to speak. Someone unmuted me, so I thought that meant I could speak.
No, that's Mr. Giacchio. If you hang on shortly, you will be. Okay?
No problem. Thanks.
Thanks. I think he was trying, may have been trying to unmute the other Sarah.
No, I think I just wanted her to give a chance to say thank you. Because to Rochelle's comment, that's all.
Ms. Smiley, unmute her, please.
She's unmuted.
I'm sorry. You're unmuting me, Sarah Smiley?
Yes,
hear you.
on purpose.
Sorry. I just wanted to thank you for the board's commitment to the Climate Smart Communities program. We had a meeting last night and we have 2 additional members of the task force that are listed, and it's a very passionate group, and we're really excited about what we can achieve in the coming year. And under the leadership of Claire Davis, who was the previous coordinator, the village, as you know, achieved bronze certification status, which is exciting. So we're hoping that the village might want to include that in a newsletter, if it hasn't been done already, to let residents know that this occurred. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your work on that benefits all of us.
Okay, we ready for the next resolution?
Yes.
Okay, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow to approve maintenance agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to execute the attached agreement with Verdant Company to maintain the village clock. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I would just note the village clock is the one at the top of Beekman Avenue. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay, and the resolution's approved. And we have one more.
Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow approving records, retention, and disposition schedule. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow that the retention and disposition schedule of New York local government's records, LGS 1, issued pursuant to Article 57-A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law, and containing legal minimum retention periods for local government records, is hereby adopted for use by all officers in legally disposing of valueless records listed herein. Be it further resolved that in accordance with Article 57-A, only those records will be disposed of that are described in retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records after they have met the minimum retention periods described therein. B, only those records will be disposed of that do not have sufficient administrative, fiscal, legal, or historical value to merit retention beyond established legal minimum period. So moved.
Seconded.
Dan seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Resolution's approved. We've got some old business, new business that Mr. Giaccio alluded to earlier, and that is while we are proceeding on various fronts with some programs and some have been delayed because of pandemic-related concerns. One of them that has not been delayed is our work on the East Parcel, or the former East Parcel that we're redubbing the Village Common. That work has continued, and it's largely because it's socially distant kind of work. It's bringing in a lot of clean fill to raise the site up so that we can eventually build our DPW there. What's happening right now is two big steps. One is, as folks who've been observing this process know, we borrowed through our local development corporation $10 million to pay for the first round of work, that infrastructure work, a water and a sewer line, and a lot of this fresh fill, clean fill being brought in. We have directed our local development corporation to go forward on the next round of financing, which will include two things. One is it will refinance that existing $10 million, and it will go out to bond for an additional $25 million on top of that. So what's particularly great about this is the rate that the LDC has managed to negotiate for us is substantially lower than the rate we had on that first 10 million. So there'll be some real savings on that, and that's terrific. On the 25 million, it'll give us the money that will be needed to go forward and build and complete our DPW, which of course will be on the easternmost part of the common, as well as other necessary infrastructure. So road, we should be able to take down the existing viaduct and do road work to bring Clinton Street down to the East Parcel through there as well. All of that is going to be made possible by this next round of financing. A couple of things I just wanted to note as we on the Board of Trustees work through this with our LDC. We looked at a number of the things like future payments on that. The 25 million, the rate, by the way, is 3%. It's amortized over a 30-year period, even though the bond finance will be 20 years. But we looked at a number of different things that I think are important for people to see. And that is the first couple of years of payments are actually included in loan payments, bond payments are included in the borrowing of that 25. So it won't hit us for a while out. And the idea behind that, as we've said many times before, is to look at Edge on Hudson as those properties are built and completed and people move in. They then, of course, go on the tax rolls. And we have new revenue that will help us support that debt. There's a number of other things that we've been looking at as well, and that we've talked about in these meetings, but it always bears repeating. We are looking to sell the former UAW site on Lower Beekman, which is owned by the local development corporation now. The proceeds from that can help either directly on the project or with paying down that bond. And it, probably most exciting to some folks and less exciting to others is the future of our DPW. We have succeeded in getting grants to move our DPW from its current site because, as I think many of you know, the DPW is in danger of being flooded given what seems to be happening around the world right now. And as you may know, during Sandy, it got really close. It came up into the parking lot. River Street was covered. So it is a very real danger there. So we're moving our fairly beat up, I guess decrepit would be a better way of describing our current DPW facility, to the back side of the common and raised up very high so it won't, any flood that gets there means, you know, it's sort of the end of the world. So I'll see you down there at the Arc if that happens. So one of the things that's really great about that is in moving our DPW, it takes the last industrial use that's on our riverfront, and it takes it away from our riverfront. And this board, a number of years ago, had already rezoned that site for mixed use commercial on the ground floor along River Street and residential above that. So the plan is to sell that property and does two things. One, it raises cash that helps pay for projects on the common, and it puts that property back on the tax rolls as well. And then when something gets built on it, it even increases tax revenue more. So there's a number of things around this project that we've been looking at very carefully for a number of years. I would just remind folks that this whole project started several years ago. I could go back 20 years if we really wanted to get into it, but don't. What really started several years ago was a process, a very public process where we went through numerous meetings around the village saying, what would you like to see on this site in addition to moving our DPW over there? And a plan was put together that includes passive recreation areas, sports facilities, a new football, soccer, lacrosse field on the site, which is sorely needed in our area. Other recreational facilities, a recreational center, which is something we really don't have. So a number of things came out of that. And it's important to note that this is a big step forward, this new financing round, because it's going to give us the funds to build out a number of the things that we need to do or that we have been planning to do for a long time. So this is a big deal, and we're pretty excited about it. So look forward to discussing that in more detail in the coming months as we're able to talk about next rounds. The immediate future for us is this board will be hiring an architect to help design our DPW facility. We expect that we will be able to break ground probably in 2022, depending on how quickly that new clean fill settles, because the DPW will be built on top of that. We need to make sure that it's stable before we do anything. Actually on this site, what you'll see is continuing big dump trucks coming in with lots of fill. We still need a few tens of thousands of yards of soil to complete the project. But folks need to know that there's other things happening there that aren't as visible. Wanted to make sure that we raise that with folks, and we're able to give you an update on where we're going. Does anyone else have any other old or new business? Ms. McCarthy, Tompkins, do you have any, while people are thinking about that? No, okay, thank you. No communications to the board. Really no, 2 thumbs down, okay. So anybody on the board have any new business, old business? If not, then we'll move on to our second public comments session. Mr. Giacchio, anyone like to address the board?
I believe Ann White would like to speak again. She has her hand up still.
Unmute her and we'll find out.
I guess I never took my hand down. Sorry. But I will just say thank you for all the work that you do on the board and the report on what's going on the East Parcel is really exciting. I hope you will be getting that information out to the to residents, and just thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you for being an active, engaged, thoughtful, and well-informed member of our community. Mr. Giacchio, anyone else?
No.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I'm requesting a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and be safe.
Everyone.